All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we are literally cracking open decades of multidisciplinary data to discover the true biological, psychological, and social engines of healthy aging. If you're a medical professional studying aging and health, this research brief is tailor-made for you. We're going to look way beyond standard lab results and uncover the holistic drivers of human longevity.
Here is our roadmap for this brief. We'll hit the blueprint for healthy aging, physical health and coping, the biology of social connection, evaluating mental health data, the power of purpose, and wrap it all up with some highly actionable clinical takeaways.
Starting off with Section 1, Blueprint for Healthy Aging, diving into the Harvard Grant Study findings.
Now, this research, the famous Harvard Grant Study, didn't just track guys for a few years. It followed a cohort of men for a staggering 80 years. 80! This provides us with an unprecedented long-term window into what actually dictates human longevity. We aren't just looking at a quick snapshot in time, we're looking at entire lifespans to see exactly how early and midlife habits snowball into old age.
And from that massive mountain of data, psychiatrist George Valiant identified 6 explicit factors that reliably predict healthy aging: physical activity, avoiding alcohol abuse and smoking, mature coping mechanisms, healthy weight, and a stable marriage. What really jumps out here is the profound emphasis on maintaining physical health right alongside social connections. This data definitively proves that genetics are far less important than lifestyle and the quality of our relationships.
And maintaining those 6 factors isn't a rigid, one-time thing. It's much more like a continuous, gentle flow of physical and mental resilience that you have to maintain over a lifetime.
Which brings us to Section 2, Physical Health and Coping, focusing on cellular regeneration and activity.
Okay, so the world's longest living populations, like those in the blue zones of Okinawa, they actively avoid grueling high-intensity gyms. Instead, they practice hara hachi bu, which basically means eating only until they're about 80% full. This caloric restriction measurably drops IGF-1, a protein that's heavily tied to the aging process. Plus, they're always doing constant low-intensity daily movement, like gardening or walking, which literally protects their immune system's telomeres from premature cellular aging.
So, staying active? It really isn't just about muscular fitness or aesthetics. It's a fundamental biological requirement. Constant, gentle movement prevents our neurons from degrading and keeps our immune systems firing optimally.
Moving right along to Section 3, Biology of Social Connection and the Physiological Impact of Affection.
Listen to this striking conclusion from Dr. Robert Waldinger, one of the directors of the Harvard study. He stated flat out, loneliness kills. It's as powerful as smoking or alcoholism. Let that sink in. Social isolation isn't just a sad state of affairs. It is an acute clinical toxin that ravages the body just as aggressively as chronic substance abuse.
And to understand why, we just have to look at the biological markers. Research by Dr. Corey Floyd details exactly how affection alters our physiology. Receiving and expressing affection physically downregulates our sympathetic nervous system. It drops your resting heart rate, improves daily cortisol variation, speeds up recovery from stress spikes, and acts as a buffer against physical pain and secondary immune disorders. Affection is, no joke, a biological shield.
All right, Section 4, Evaluating Mental Health Data, looking at interpersonal versus intrapersonal needs.
When we cross-reference the Harvard findings with modern data from the American Psychiatric Association, a really fascinating dynamic emerges. On one hand, the Harvard study heavily emphasizes external relationships and social support as the ultimate predictor of health. But on the flip side, self-determination theory and modern APA data heavily emphasize internal purpose and autonomous motivation as critical for lowering emotional exhaustion and burnout. So to age optimally, a patient absolutely needs both: the external anchor of a tight community and the internal engine of a self-directed purpose.
Think of this balance like a wave. That biological drive for physical affection and the psychological drive for internal purpose have to intersect seamlessly in your patients to facilitate optimal, healthy aging.
Which naturally leads us into Section 5, The Power of Purpose, Finding Meaning and Mitigating Depression.
Back in Okinawa, they call this ikigai, a reason for being. It's a deeply personal life aim that keeps people highly active and joyful well past the age of 100. Clinically speaking, an ikigai serves as a neurological shield against cognitive decline. It proves that simply having a reason to get out of bed in the morning literally sustains the biological organism.
Western psychology mirrors this beautifully through Viktor Frankl's logotherapy.
Frankl taught that spiritual anguish and existential emptiness aren't necessarily mental illnesses to be medicated away. Actually, it's a natural, healthy drive to find one's unique meaning. When patients discover this meaning, their anxiety and existential neuroses often just dissipate.
And we are seeing a massive crisis of purpose right now. Check out this modern data from the APA and Harvard Graduate School of Education. Recently, 58% of young adults reported a lack of meaning or direction in their lives. Consequently, the rates of anxiety and depression have absolutely skyrocketed to 36%. That is double the rate of teenagers. It shows us that a lack of purpose is a highly measurable mental health hazard.
Finally, let's bring it all together in Section 6, Clinical Takeaways for Aging, Actionable Insights for Medical Professionals.
Integrating this biopsychosocial model means we have to shift how we advise aging patients. First, social connection absolutely must be prescribed just as aggressively as a heart-healthy diet. Second, actively assess your patients for their ikigai to head off depression risks. Third, start recognizing affection deprivation as a root cause vulnerability for chronic pain and sleep disorders. And fourth, encourage constant, gentle daily movement rather than intimidating folks with rigid gym routines.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. If we now have the hard data proving that human affection and a reason for being are just as biologically critical as what we eat and how we exercise, how are you going to rewrite your prescriptions to ensure your patients truly achieve a long, healthy, and happy life? Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope this research brief really empowers your daily practice.